Good evening all. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully it's all working. I've been mucking around a lot with the settings, so apologies if you can't. It would be just about the right start to 2024 if I started it muted, wouldn't it? It would just be like 2023 hadn't finished and we were in exactly the same place. But good to see you all. I'm really hoping that you've had a very, very good Christmas and a New Year, if that's what you celebrate. But hello to White Lion, Julia Reyes, Citizen Ninja, Monster AV, Hardgrim, Shinobi Trip, Fear Fox, Citizen Ninja, Shadow, and wow, we have a very special guest in chat, Sarah Gidding. Good evening. Good to see you, you crazy, crazy person. You. Yeah, I'm hoping everyone's all right. How was everyone's Christmas, New Year? What do we get up to? Sarah, I might already have your answer, I think. Yeah. Let me know, Saz, if I can reveal your identity live on stream, or whether you would rather remain a lurker in the back. Let me know how it all works. But yeah. I predict that predictions will be given in this stream. You're welcome. Citizen Ninja, I think you just won the internet. Congratulations. Well done, sir. But yes, I thought I'd go for a little bit of the scary kind of clickbaity thumbnail title thing with screw my predictions, what are yours? So let's find out. I'm interested to know what you think of Star Citizen this year. Started on mute. She just said yes. So there is a young lady in chat who is the bane of my existence. You know, beat me up at a young age, and now she's the boss, and I'm not. My sister is on stream, so or in the chat rather. So, hi, Saz. Good to see you, bud. Hope everything's all right. Hopefully Dan's not watching this as well, because that would be incredibly embarrassing. But if he is, hello Dan. We'll talk about. Dan and I were talking on New Year's. We went out for a family meal, and I decided that what Dan really needed is a gaming PC. Am I right? He's on console at the minute and he's enjoying his console stuff. But I think a gaming PC, and then my sister could lose a second one of her partners to me playing a computer. I'm in so much trouble when I go home. Sarah organised an awesome Christmas party for us when we, so the day after Christmas Day, Boxing Day, we call it here in the UK, we have a family party, and the person who's responsible for it gets a load of decorations in, makes the house up really cool, and they're responsible for like making a cocktail themed around the theme. So on Boxing Day, driving past our family home, they would have seen on the windows Christmas tree, Christmas tree, Christmas tree, bats. Because Sarah went for a Halloween theme, so I have some very strange pictures. Maybe I'll even find them for you a little bit later, of some weird concoctions in our front room where there was a Christmas tree and, you know, then a witch and a ghost and some pumpkins, and yeah, really weird but very, very good fun. We spent our evening watching Women in Black, Woman in Black, I think it is, which was really cool. And then It Chapter 1. So yeah, good pick on the film, Saz. Good call. But yeah, other than that, I went down to Christmas I went down to family just before Christmas. Literally travelled that weekend and had some great time with family. Really nice to go down and go home and see. So I'm feeling refreshed, and I don't know if you noticed, managed to get 2 videos pre-planned, so they were released while I wasn't even home. Check me out. And then, unfortunately, tried to do a video yesterday for you all, and I don't want to talk about it. I have so much trauma from trying to escape from Clasher that it's not even funny. It was rubbish. It was, the mission itself is great. It's a lot of fun. But unfortunately, the poor person who was trying to lead me through, Shadow Girl in chat, was doing a really good job of trying to guide me through. Unfortunately, if you go to Clasher by surrendering yourself at one of the fines terminals, your account can brick. So don't do that. Don't use surrender on the terminals. Go and get killed and sent to prison like a normal person. But yes, that video hopefully will be up at some point next week. Tried editing today. There's a lot to edit. There's a lot of deaths. There's a lot of bugs. I might even leave some of them in for the giggles. But to be honest, I ended up with so much video footage, over 12 hours worth, as Stunner's talking about in chat. Thanks, mate. Cheers. I really need to relive this right now. Yeah, I had to delete a lot of it because, well, there was so much of it. So that was good fun. But yeah, it's good to see everyone, and looking forward to talking a little bit today about what we think is coming in Star Citizen for 2024, whether we'll see Squadron. I didn't want to do a predictions video. I feel like prediction videos right now, they're a little bit like Christmas turkey. Like, there's lots of them lying around and you never get through it all. So I'm not going to do a prediction video. Maybe, unless you guys tell me otherwise. But let's have a chat about it here and we'll see what we think. And we can go from there, I guess. But yes, thought the escape was still broken anyway since the fan codes didn't work. So yeah, so the weird thing about the fan codes, AV, was that sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. They started off working fine, and it was like, woohoo, fixed. And then loads of other things broke. So 3 times. So this mission that you have to get, you have to go to a level in the mines that's outside of the comm-sat bubble, and then Ruto sends you a message called "Need a way out" or "Need an out?" ? Yeah, that didn't go well. It was finally 3:30 this morning that I fixed it and went to bed, basically sobbing like a child because it was that rough. But we got there in the end. I had some. That's sort of stuff. Shocker17 says, "I just want a box of pizza." I can't help you, dude. Sorry. None available at this address. But I do have some ciders down here, so I'll start one. I suppose I could crack one now, couldn't I? What about you guys? One word or one phrase or one thing. What is the prediction or the feature you think that Star Citizen cannot complete 2024 without? Let me know. Let me know what it is you think. What would you go for? What would be your... I think you're in my cider. This is bad. 2 seconds. Never mind. Found it. We're all good. It's like, where's my cider gone? God damn it. Yeah. Pizza or riot? Yeah, I buy into that 100%. Oh, good lord. The camera's swinging around all sorts of places. I've just seen that. You're a little bit behind me on the chat rate. But yeah. Let's see what happens. Jump point to Pyro, says Citizen Ninja. Hopefully, yeah. It's build middle of June this year, or middle of this year. So, I don't know. What do you think? Pyro this year? I could do a poll, couldn't I? That might be quite good fun. Let's find out. Participation? No. I just want to do a poll. There we go. Poll. Pyro this year? Question mark. Dot poll. Let's see what we think. Do we get Pyro this year? Let's see how optimistic we're all being. I have noticed that there's been a marked reduction in all my social media feeds. Not a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, 2024 is really going to be my year. I think we've all learned our lesson. Since about 2019, I think people have just stopped with that nonsense, and that's that. Star map, usable map will be huge, says AV. Stunner says new star map for sure, 100%. What does everyone else think? So this works better with audience with chat participation, audience participation, whatever you want to do. Entirely up to you guys. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to, but I'll run out of things to... I lie. I never run out of things to say. Not me. Hopium is still running through my veins, Stunner. Good. That's what we like. Let the hopium flow through you. That's all good. So I put my ciders out back to cool and then completely forgot them over the whole Christmas period. So they have been out there for a worrying period of time. Didn't get nicked, but I'm a little bit worried that, cats may have piddled and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to give this one a wipe off before we start drinking. Because, yeah, not my tipple of choice, funnily enough. I think Pyro won't be early year, but it'll be out next year, says Avi. Interesting. So we're going for a next year for a Pyro. So over 6 months of delays, or 6 months of delays, we think. Possibly. Possibly. So lots of people, I think, were very positive off of CitizenCon and all that stuff, right? It was really good stuff coming out of that, and I think everyone was enthused. And then I've heard the point of view that maybe, excuse me, while I do this one, we're on a Stoford's press, by the way. That's the tipple of choice. Stoford's. I'm not sponsored by you, but if you fancy it, I'm game. Make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's get that. Okay. Quarter 3, Q4 this year. Yeah, it still feels a bit like 2023, doesn't it? Ships. The good ones come with more gameplay, says Shinobi. Cool. If you could have, what is the one ship this year that you would want, Shinobi? Doesn't have to be realistic. It could be any of them. What was the one ship you are waiting for? Still living in the past, says AV. Mate, aren't we all? So are Star Citizen's, like 12 years of development now. Just to start triggering the White Knights. Lol. But yeah, let me know what you think. My freaking G12 finally, says Steiner. Good call. Like the G12. Yeah, let's go with that. And let's save it and get rid of that project. I still have my editor open, actually, in the background. That's how much I've been working. I haven't. We've been in Discord shouting at each other. Polaris says Shadow Gal. Looking forward to pair your Polaris, I think you were saying, with a Perseus. We can make that happen. That can happen a lot. No problem. Zeus MR says Hard Grip. Nice. Ranger says Del Kenobi. Interesting choice. Edison says Anvil Capital Ship. AA, the Polaris size Perseus or Idris size would be good. Cool. Citizen Ninja, nice if they manage to release the Polaris in 2024. I hope so too, buddy. I really do. And I will go as far as saying that I am confident that it will happen. AB says, honestly, more hyped for the Legionnaire than the Polaris because it means hacking and the start of electronic warfare. 100%. We're having some really good chats in Discord, actually. If you guys want to join the Discord, if you're not already, there's a link in the description. But we were having really good chats today about what a fleet might look like. And I'd like to think, with my naval background behind me and that sort of stuff, that I gave a few insights into what a fleet might look like. And how to think about putting together a fleet. And it's not just about the ships, it's about the roles that they play. And that may sound obvious, but the conversation today got me thinking that we might see the start of a new kind of series, which is, I haven't thought of a name yet. In fact, let's look at that later on. I'm going to finish the poll because I think we have become, we've got a pretty compelling answer, which is 75% voting yes for Pyro, 25% voting no out of 16 votes. Interesting. So 12 yes, 4 no's. Nice. Spire Nobility says, I'm having issues loading into the game, into the main menu. Know the workaround. Do you ever make it to the main menu, Aspire? And more to the point, did you, just before you had this issue, did you surrender yourself to the authorities? Did you surrender to pressure? Because if so, I think that may have happened. If you do join Discord, make sure you go into general chat. There's an issue in the general council that's affecting Scarlet at the moment. That is that if you surrender to Klesher, not that you get killed and get taken there, but if you go to one of the terminals where you pay fines, you hit surrender, then what might happen is your account will go to black. Nothing will happen. You'll just see the black screen. It won't load in. You'll quit and go back in, and then you will not be able to log in even to the menu. So that might be what you're experiencing, but just a general warning to everyone. Do not surrender at the moment. There is a fix coming, but they've told us that it won't be until the 3.22 patch hits the EPTU, and then they'll have to wait for it to go through the cycle. So poor old Shadow Girl, her account at the moment is bricked, and there is nothing she can do about it. So please, please, please learn from that. Don't do it. Ray Louderback says, release of the Liberator fast attack character. Excuse me, I know I was going to have to shadow ban someone. Good to see you, Ray. Hope you had a good Christmas, my friend. Dream is the Mark II Hornet, the Reality Legionnaire. Shadow Dream is the Anvil cap ship, says Shinobi. Some good choice, solid choices. I think the Legionnaire's a pretty good choice. And as Avi says, the start of hacking and e-warfare, which will be quite exciting as well. Tried to launch the tutorial, stuck at the losing menu, closed the game and tried to relaunch. Now you can't even get to the game menu. What I'd recommend, mate, is have a look at the issue council, see if someone has the same problem. Because it sounds very similar, although it's not caused by the same thing. The other thing I would do if you haven't is the obvious stuff. Verify your game files and also rip it out properly, get rid of the game completely and re-download it. It's unfortunate, it's a really bad workaround and really painful. I appreciate that. But to be honest, we've all gone through it multiple times, I think it's fair to say. Sorry, Axis, every army prove it. A fleet is not about ships, but people well trained, clear and desired state. I think it's as clear. Clear, desired final state. Funnily enough, I think it was Stunner made exactly the same point when we were talking about fleets in Discord earlier today, which is the fleets. Yeah, a lot of power is helpful, but if you don't have the people that kind of sort it all out, then it doesn't work particularly well. I think I've just lost you on the camera. I'm going to try and get you back. I don't know. Are we good? No, I've gone. That's fine. It wouldn't be one of these streams if this sort of stuff didn't happen. Let's see if I get you back. That seems to have worked, right? We're here. We're oh god, I was going to say something really rude then. But yes, we're here, right? No clue either, I'm afraid. Aspire. I'm really not sure what that refers to. Sorry. If anyone else in chat is able to help Aspire out, then please do so. But I'm not sure what Pseudo-Vizzudo's workaround is. Is that a troll? Is that something like that? I'm not sure. Okie dokie. Yeah, sorry, your point is a really good one. And one of the things that I want to get to at some point is, as part of that new series that I want to do about a naval officer. Obviously, my background, I did almost 12 years in the Royal Navy as a warfare officer, graduated top of my class in warfare school, and that's a thing, warfare school apparently. So they call it the IWO, the Intermediate Warfare Officers course, which is the level you do before you get to command. And actually fighting the ship and stuff. So it's going to keep doing this, I think. And I do not have my webcam available. So the little one, I've gotten rid of it because I thought the big one was gonna work really well for me. And apparently it's just going to abandon me when I need it most. So let's give it another try. I don't know. Let's see. I could spend the entire stream just fiddling with my phone. That would work, right? But yes, this series, and guys, if you've got any ideas what I can call it. So, I wanted to do a naval officer reviews with ships and stuff, but that sounds a little bit derivative of what Morphologist does, right? So, possibly that, or something like with a naval officer, maybe. So I could do fleet tactics with a naval officer. Hammerhead review with a naval officer. Something like that, right? And I know it's very similar, but I don't want to be seen straight copying it. So, yeah. Baggers. Thanks, Edison. Cheers, mate. You got the game last night and haven't been able to play. Aspire, I'll tell you what we'll do, mate. If you've got a couple of hours, is just grab the Discord invite, come in, let me know when you've done it. I'll give you the role so you can actually see what's going on in Discord. But we can try and help you through. If you're happy to share your screen, we can try and walk you through it. But more than happy to do that, buddy. If not, we can point you in the view of someone else. But Del Kenobi is talking with you in chat. Okay, talk to Del. Del is an absolute ninja, right? He is a full-on Jedi, as his name suggests. with the whole computer stuff. So please, please, please talk to him, because he fixed my Star Citizen issue, for which I love you forever, Del, and you know that. But yeah, that's it. But that's cool. Yeah, so all that sort of stuff. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to look at in this series is I want to look at the idea of what it's going to take to run a fleet, and the training and all, and the communications. And right, bear with me. I'm going to have a fiddle on my phone, and then I'm going to be back. Stand by. But yes, I can still talk to you, obviously. I'm just not going to be on the screen. So let's kill everything on my phone, because it's obviously having a problem with something. I shall restart my phone. I shall come back to you, because I restarted my computer a little while ago, so that should be fine. Let's find out. This will be exciting. Come on, phone. I suppose, whilst we're doing so, I could pop something interesting up on the other screen, couldn't I? Just so that we're not sat there staring at rubbishness. Let's have a look. Let's do that. Switch over. Transition. Da, 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 da. So at least there's something going on the screen, right? Correct. From the helm or through the helm. Yeah, absolutely. I like the kind of play on words. I'm just a little bit concerned that not everyone is going to know the reference from the helm and stuff. But I like where you're going with that. I like the thought process. Let's just see if we can come up with something that is very obvious. I mean, I could also use the thumbnail to do that, right? I could also say something like, I don't want to do that. I want to do, how do I do the switchy thing? There's the switchy thing. Ta-da! Okay. I don't know if it's going to want to keep going or not, but I'm doing all I can, man. Let's get back. Right, let's figure that out, and then transition back, and then watch this disappear. Right. Cool. Arcane TGR says, I like the helm idea. It has good traction with naval officer, and yet not a copy of current reviews. Yeah, 100%. Lots of stuff to. Oh, Scarlett, you monster! She. Now there's a joke, right? What Shadow Girl's referring to is that we put ourselves in prison, right? I can Del, even though I'm not in Discord, I can hear you laughing, dude. It's really cool. I can just imagine it. So we obviously, because we're going to escape prison, you don't get anything, you don't get to keep anything. So we took all our gear off. So there's Scarlett and I running around, Orison in just our underwear. And at one point, I decided to get really creepy and start crawling along the floor. And if you ever do that with the male model, it's a bit of a bulge. What I love is ads have just kicked in, so people aren't going to hear what I've just said, which is perfect. So, oh God, I'm going to hell. I think, yeah, Shadow's just, yeah. I mean, there's my OnlyFans, right? But yes. So, moving swiftly on. Del laughing. Can confirm this study. Yeah, I think they're all in the Discord. Very cool. But yes, so that's what Scarlett's talking about. She's not being unduly crass, although a little bit. I did tell them today, Shadow Girl, that you forced me to watch the mushroom soup video, to which I actually had a physical reaction of feeling not well. You're an awful human being. Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. I also like the idea of something around fleet command, although I might leave that for when fleets are out, and I might do a series on actual command and control. Because I spent time on the bridge, right? So I was an officer watch and a navigator. So a lot of what I did was fleet work, not just of moving our ship around, but moving ships in formation, screens, which is what you call a large formation of ships, a fighting formation in effect, because that's what you're doing. You're screening either a high-value target or a mission essential unit, and that's your thing. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can keep doing this without my camera dying, you monster. Right. I'm going to leave you on that. I'm going to give it one more restart because that seemed to be going a lot better. And apparently, well, there you go. It's happened for 2024. Now, that one was entirely not my fault. I tapped the screen. I tapped it as I put the phone back in, I think. So, not my fault. I'm not taking the blame for that one. But yeah. Do you know what? I don't even know what I was saying now. Yeah. But that's right. I was threatening Stunner with serious bodily injury because of his badges with streaming problems. Which is just rude. Yes, that's right. The idea of fleet talk from the helm, I like that. I was going to do from the captain's chair. However, I felt like that was too close to Astro Pub's captain's table. So I've left that alone. Yeah. So, and the fucking camera. Sorry. Screw you, YouTube. I'm going to swear and there's nothing you can do about it. Ugh. I don't get it. I really, really do not get it. I think the only way I fixed this last time was by just making sure I haven't muted myself again. Was by sorting the software. So I'm just putting the program up in the background, which is why I'm not paying you guys much attention. Let's figure out what's going on. But basically, this is going to be a 2-hour stream of me not being on camera, I think. I think that's where we end up going with this. Because you could always go on Twitch. No, just drinking. Yeah, I'm just going to sit there getting hammered. The Polaris view next on the officer deck. Yeah. The wardroom, the quarter deck. I mean, that would, if anything, that if I was just going naval, that would have been the name of the channel, right? The quarter deck or something like that. I'm guessing it would have been taken. Quarterdeck could go the poop deck. There's all sorts of stuff we could do. The forecastle, the starboard bridge wing. I don't know. I really don't. I'm puzzled. But yeah. And yeah, we'll just keep the. What are you doing and why? Why are you like this? You absolute monster. I'm just like, the phone's really warm. The officer's mess, that 100%. The other question we had quite regularly was, what is the collective name for a group of officers? What's the collective noun for a group of officers? And I heard that, like, someone said gaggle, which I thought was quite cool, but it was a chaos or a cluster of officers, because of course, cluster is a term for, this is such a cluster is a term for a muck-up. So yeah, we could go with a cluster. But yeah, the wardroom is obviously the officer's mess. So, but we could use that for the streams, right? Is like the wardrooms where officers get to relax and chill out. A gaggle of officers, yeah, cluster. A chaos of officers just sounds like, and I know Dell's going to be sitting there going, "That's what they are. They're a chaos." Still can hear you laughing from here. I'm 4 rooms away, Dell, and I can still hear you laughing. A manila folder, yeah. I mean, Edison's not far off. I can't repeat that on stream. Not as close as I did to saying the word fuck. But yeah. But yes, good. Yeah, so we'll go something like that. But I want to talk about command and control, and the first thing I want to touch on is communications, because I think that's going to be vital. And I think for Star Citizen to run and for really hit its potential with the comms side, I think it would be really good to see them do the comms in game, as opposed to leaving us to do something like TeamSpeak or Discord, or, you know, is it Gilded? I think Gilded's come the closest. A disaster, yes, that one, absolutely. A maelstrom of officers. Yeah, all right, Edison, stop rubbing it in. A bunch of crazies that should not be trusted. Rude. Although worryingly accurate. Yeah, so we can have a look at that sort of stuff. But, you know, Gilded's come the closest. But when you think of all the people that need to talk to each other on a ship, but don't necessarily need everyone to hear, there's a very simple, like, intuitive way on the UI that they could do this. It would be a very simple way of doing it. It's very similar to lots of other systems, because, like, I'm not that imaginative when it comes to creating computer stuff, right? But I can see in my head how it would work, and it's actually a system taken from storage in a game called Eco. But I'll show you that later. Maybe I'll put that into the video and show you what I mean. And we'll do that. But I think this year is probably time to start putting a stamp on the map with my military background, especially seeing as we have more military ships coming, because we have the Hammerhead. But from the large military ship perspective, that's about it. Because ships like the Retaliator and that are more fighter based, they're more bomber based. So they would be more suited to a pilot or someone from the real world aeronautical profession. Perseus, obviously, and then you've got things like the Javelin and the Idris and all the larger ships. Yes, there's the Gemini, or the Starfarer, but we all know it's in such a mess right now, right? The Gemini's just, it's a monster, and it needs to be left where it is and not touched. So I'm not going to bother reviewing that until it's, you know, even close to being in its final form. And I think they've said, you know, they basically designed it as an FPS level, which is great for FPS, but it's no use for ships and just moving around. So we'll see. Once they've got something, we'll do that. Yes, aka the Hair Force. Yes, exactly. Do you have an officer cap you can wear on stream for when you do a more naval video? That's a rather personal question, Cello. Maybe. I mean, maybe that's a Patreon thing, right? Is I'll do videos in my cap. Maybe that's the OnlyFans right there. I don't know. Um, but yes, there is various bits of uniform and that kicking off and kicking around. So potentially, I could do something like that. What I'm not going to do is get into my dress uniform to do it because A, it doesn't fit anymore, unsurprisingly, and B, it's just a pain in the ass. Um, Isn't the group of officers named the staff in English? Yes, Suriak. Sorry. So it was more of a comedy thing. It was like, what's the comedy name for a group of officers? Um, and that's why we were saying things like gaggle and chaos and cluster and stuff. But yes, it's glad to have someone from across the water. Good to see you, bud. Awesome. So yeah, so that's the hope is that sort of stuff. But someone else give us something. What do we think? What are we going to see or not see? That might be a question. What do you think might drop off the radar this year? If you had to target something as I don't think this is going to happen, what do you think? What's it going to be? Um, Interested to know. Because yeah, it's obviously a lot of features listed, and I think it would be a surprise to most if we got everything right. Um, Even with the changing over of teams from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen and all the extra devs that's bringing, um, it would be a surprise to get all that stuff. It would be a good surprise, don't get me wrong, but it would be a surprise. Um, so yeah, let's see what we think, what people think might drop off. Jodomo straight in with the Idris. Oof. Um, yeah, that's yeah, that's harsh, man. I mean, you'd hope it would be a fairly easy port across, but there's one thing having the model and stuff. Something else is, it's something else entirely to have that many players on something that big and all the data that it brings with it, and the back end support required to have stuff like that working. So yeah, base building. Yeah, I think they said they were starting work on that this year. I don't think they were ever gonna suggest that we were gonna get any of that this year. That'd be absolutely mental. Galaxy said, although I don't know if that's been certainly pegged for this year. I know they've said it's being worked on in the order of ships after the Polaris, but I don't know if it's going to come this year. But yeah, I guess that's what you're saying. Um, Ground radar pinging. The FPS scanning. You mean Shadow? Is that what you're after? Um, Zeus MR bounty hunting pods might not be ready for it. Yeah, 100%. Although that little clip in at CitizenCon of someone being put into restraints, put into cuffs and stuff, that was so cool. So I hope it comes quickly. I'm not going to bounty hunt everyone. I'm just going to knock them all out and put them in cuffs just for the lols. But there you go. I think it might be a playable level, the Idris, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, seeing the people through walls FPS. Yeah, I think I'm kind of hoping that goes away. That they realise that it's not going to work and they bin it because, you know, there's a real group advantage for that as well. Is the cooldown thing doesn't help if it's 4-on-1 or 4-on-2 because you've got double the amount of ping, so you can get more information on where they are. And if all you're doing is revealing yourself when you ping, I don't like that. I think there's issues there, but we'll see how they put it. Medical and science not being this year, was that Arcane or being this year? Um, Stunner says, I think Master Mode's getting pushed back. They think they want a higher number of ships working with it before putting it in. Yeah, so the interesting thing with Master Modes for me was when they said, we don't know yet if everything is going to switch over to Master Modes at once or whether everything is going to, things are going to be put in tranches, because it would make sense in that vein that the combat ships change first, because you can imagine it the other way around. If you change the cargo ships and everything that's going to be pirated, then that's completely unfair, because it's like, haha, you can't run because you've got mastermates, but I haven't, so I'm sat at 900 meters a second able to continue firing, and you can't get above 200. That would pretty suck. Avi says, that's kind of my concern for the Legion, is that they'll put it in without the hacking or being able to board hostile ships. Yeah, because of course the thing that requires is ship-to-ship docking, and that, ugh. I don't want to be negative here, but I think that's likely to not come at the same time. I know they don't want to, but I mean, you'd think if ship-to-ship docking was in the same sort of timescale, they'd at least mention something, right? Because of course, docking in a single player isn't really an issue, because there's only one ship you actually control, which is yours, so everything else becomes easy. It doesn't have to be the same sort of an entity that in a multiplayer it has to be when players are controlling both ships. So, yeah. I think we'll get everything visually that was in Squadron 42. It won't look good if they recruit Squadron 42 if SC looks so far behind. Interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that. Everyone talks about the effect that Squadron 42 will have on Star Citizen like that. But nobody talks about what Star Citizen will need to be in order to make Squadron 42 look good. Because that's going to be really weird, right? You play Squadron 42, you love it, you come to the multiplayer and it's like, So yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it in that way around. Citizen Ninja says Apollo med drones might not be ready, might delay the Apollo's release. Yeah, the drones are really interesting. They've got some really good concept artwork that I used in that video where I talked about ships that I like, because the Apollo, if you haven't seen it, is one of those ships that I can step off my big CCU chain at. I really like the idea of the medevac, the slightly more expensive one. And those drones, they have some really interesting looks, and I think one of the ways it would work really well is if that ship was able to, the bed that the drone uses to go and collect someone, it then puts a capsule over the top of them so they have an atmosphere and can be brought back to the ship by the drone. Pilots that have ejected or had to get out of wreckage or whatever. That bed that they're on in there, the drone detaches, takes everything with it but the pod that they're on, and that little becomes the trolley that then becomes the bed. So you ask, well, how do you transfer the person from the drone to the bed? You just drag them around the ship by the collar. So no, you take the bed out of the person's already on it. You then click that onto the medical bed, because it's all the stuff that's above you, not what you're laying on, that does all the healing. So I think that would be really cool and a really sensible way of doing that. But I guess we'll see when it comes around. There we go. We shall see, I guess. Well, at least I fixed the camera issue. I've done literally nothing, but the camera is fixed. So cool. Avi says, Master Modes I thought was in Arena Commander only this year. I really can't see them putting into PTU without at least half the ships ready. EPTU possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember precisely what they said. But yes, it's very much like resource management is coming to the Arena Commander before it comes to the PU. So, along with the multi-crew stuff that's already in Arena Commander, the up to 4 players spawning in a location, that's going to be good fun. Yeah, lots of ships using drones. Obviously the Carrack, the Reclaimer, you've got the Apollo. There's a lot of use for drones out there, and it's gonna take a while for them, I think, to get them all to the point where they're working. So, yeah, good stuff. God, stop leaving my window open. Just gets warm in here with all the kit on and all the lights. If I don't, and if I do, because it's dark, the light attracts all the light. So great. Woo. Like that. It's like, oh, this is where all the light is. Fuck off. Yeah, so that's good fun. Thule, hello. New name, I think. I'm not sure if I've seen you in here before. If I have, I apologise. But if not, welcome to. Good to see you. Very surprised that they didn't sell the base building modules this IAE. Maybe they plan base building for 2025. Yeah, it's an interesting thing that they've gone for that push on that direction, but I guess they can just bring modules in as and when, and there's a lot of functionality that's in other places. One of the things that I've said is, you know, there's been a lot of chat when I was with the info runners. We were talking a lot about ground-based mining. Now, for me, seeing those buildings and seeing the ground-based mining building indicated to me that what we thought was going to happen with ground-based mining, which is finding nodes and moving around, that might not be quite as accurate anymore, because you can't move around as a building. So it looks like that building, very much like Starfield, where you place a building and it tells you what it has in a radius that you can that building is going to be able to interact with. I think it's going to be a similar thing with Star Citizen. There you go, I've said it. I've just likened something in Starfield to Star Citizen. I'm going to get flamed now. But, you know, that sort of thing where it will say, you know, there's this much ore in this area at this sort of, I don't know, purity, whatever you would call it, value, or we're going to be able to extract so much an hour. But it seems really weird to put a building down for something that's going to be gone in 24 hours. That doesn't seem to make sense. So that's going to be very different. Avi says, I mean, Nautilus and the Vulcan are completely dependent on drones for their roles as well. Yeah, you're not wrong. You know, I think there's potentially some work with the Vulcans. The Vulcan's got a storeroom at the back, so maybe you can land and do resupply, but that's nothing to do with the ship, right? That's no different to rearming a ship in a hangar or you know, on a carrier. So yeah, you're entirely right. Tony Girl says, I think they'll sell it once it's out, because then people will be too excited to help themselves. Avi says, not too surprising for me, since they aren't working on it until Q1. Hoping to see a lot of modules for sale this year, bring back the tally ones. Yeah, it's the modularity stuff is interesting, because of course we know the Galaxy is modular. The Retaliator base is modular, because where the torpedoes are on the Retaliator bomber, it's cargo holds. We also know that there are other modules, and Edison, I know you had the modules. What are the other modules that are there for the Retaliator? Can you pop them in chat for me? And we'll have a chat and look at what they are as well. But you know, the Retaliator base is coming, which is really interesting. Because it's not like we don't have a lot of cargo ships. So that might suggest, although I'm not saying this is confirmed before everyone loses their minds, that modularity is closer than we were expecting, and that it's being worked on. Of course, there's another way to do modularity, which is instead of doing any of the module swapping or stuff like that, that you just get different versions of the ship. That in effect is what's happened with the Titan Warlock and Avenger and that sort of stuff, right? Sorry, the Avenger Titan, even the Avenger Warlock, the Avenger Titan. That is in effect is what that is. That's modularity, but instead of using the module swap, they just go, ta-da, different ship. So, you know, that might be how we see it first off. I don't know, but it's interesting that Retaliator's on there, that they're going to work on the Galaxy, which we know is modular. These things are coming in quite short order. Completing drones would really boost sales. Yeah. The negative enemy says they'll sell the vehicles for construction first before we see the construction modules, because money. Yeah, and the other thing is how are they going to do the buildings, right? Are they going to be something that we can, are they going to be, I know the land plots, the land claims were purchasable. Will they come back? How will that work? Because, I mean, and I don't, to be honest, a lot of what the media do around Star Citizen, I'm not interested. It's like, yeah, the media will find, like, this ship package, one of the game sites called it DLC. right, in the strictest sense, the ship's a DLC. Kind of. But if you say, there's DLC for that game, like, your instant thoughts are going to be like a bolt-on campaign or something that expands the story. It's just dishonest, because they know that. They're a gaming outlet. If this was the BBC or the Independent or something like that, who maybe have zero interest in gaming, and their gaming journalists are people who just fails everything else, I could understand it. But this isn't. These are people who are gaming, and it's willful representation. However, I do think that gaming media had a point when they talked about selling the land claims, and I think CIG took note of that. It would be interesting to see if they brought it back, because I don't think they will. But I'm happy to be proved wrong. I say I'm happy to be wrong. I don't have an issue with being proved wrong on things generally. Master modes, says Shinobi. I won't be surprised if they do a blanket change. Light fighter, flight profile, medium fighter profile, heavy fighter profile, like they did with the weapons being set. I can see why that would make design sense. I really hope not, because that would just be boring as hell. And I suppose they could use that as the baseline and then divest out from there. But, so habitation, torpedoes, mech station, cargo, and maybe dropships and fuel for the retaliator base. Edison goes on to say that the modules they're actually selling, one was a drop, one was cargo, and one was living. So yeah, interesting. Cargo, habitation, torpedo, dropship. Never sold, but on the page they had the Titan charging module, which is the mech station that Jules alluded to. Yeah, interesting. Shadow, you're a very, very bad person. You heard it here. Badgers confirms modularity being worked on. Read all about it, which is precisely the opposite of what I just said. You absolute monster. But yeah, it would be interesting. Like, some of the modules that really interest me are the ones that come for the Caterpillar. Now, I know there's a whole debate about whether or not the Caterpillars can be modular. I'm not interested in that at the moment, because I'm more interested in the possibilities of it rather than the he said, she said at the moment, because we don't have a definitive line, right? But I really like the idea of things like a little bit of a drugs lab. So the Caterpillar having modules that are a little bit more questionable or out and out illegal compared to the more reputable models of something on, say, the Retaliator, right? So things like the chop shop, the drugs lab, all that sort of stuff. That stuff sounds really, really interesting and cool, and might even tempt me towards a Caterpillar if that's the way they go with it. CIG, don't listen to that. Don't do it just to make me buy a cat. You're monsters. Yeah, MPUV also sees the Killers and Khan, also modular. Maybe will come before the tally. Yeah, it's a really good point, Ninja. Is that, you know, the MPUV in effect is something else that is modular, and at the moment we get given different ships, when in reality they are one, and they just have different modules from. Allegedly from a bar citizen, they intend to have the land claims purchasable with UEC. No mention on time frame though. Interesting. I don't suppose, Avi, that they give any sort of indication of what they think it's going to cost. I suppose not, because it doesn't matter, does it? It'll change when they balance out. You know, they figure out how much money's coming to everything. Oh god, the gaming journalist who found their position by fading everything else. Harsh, lol. I mean, if they didn't act like it, I wouldn't say it. But they do, so I will. So, Thiel says, at a time they said the Redeemer is modular. Yes, the Redeemer will also be modular, which is one of the reasons it's on my video of ships I'm not a fan of at the moment. So go watch that if that's going to trigger anyone. But yes, I feel like the Redeemer is too much of a combat Mary suit. But there you go. The bigger question is one module or a module per zone. I really hope it's the latter. That would be so cool. And actually, if you look at the way the ship breaks up the derelicts, it certainly suggests that could be the case. But you know, having like a hangar module for a snub, not in terms of like for the cat to use necessarily, but I like the idea of there being a reception base. You can use a cat as like a mobile black market trader, so you can have like an interior market module, and you know, but it's all very dodgy, it's all very cutthroat, it's all very Mos Eisley in a ship basically. So yeah, that would be cool. Javelin is modular too, they said, for 2028 or 2030. 2030. Yes, so the Javelin will be, and they talked about there being different modules, and there's one of the ones they said specifically, which is really, really interesting, is something called a fleet command module. So I'll go and show you what I mean by that. If we go to funding, I can't remember, someone's going to notice it, and I will go past it, I am sure, but, you know, so ship customization, boarding, melee options, give space swords CIG. I want to go stab people with a katana in space, just like Starfield. Let's have a interesting. A tablet companion. To check on your inventory, commission, or find missings here back to bed. I wonder whether they're going to do that as some sort of like the auction house module was with World of Warcraft, whether you're able to organise deals and set it up. Maybe if you're like an org, you know, if you're not there, you can still set stuff up in your tablet and then say to org mates, right, we need to transport this here and that there, and I think that would be cool, right? But let's have a look. The Bengal carrier will be unlocked for his system. Here we go. So, at the bottom of the 13 million, Command and Control Center. Supervise the battle from the deck of your Idris or Destroyer with advanced command and control packages that allow you to tie all of your ships together and assume central command from the third seat. Which sounds really, really, really cool. The one thing that I hope they do with that, just like there's no real gameplay value to this. It's just being really cool. You know, VR setups where you can actually walk through a space and it knows where you are in relation to everything. If you happen to have that, once the game is released and everything else, it would be so cool. If you could walk around your fleet and around a space battle and maneuver stuff around, you know, like Ender in Ender's game, where the whole thing is like a holographic projection around them, but it looks photoreal. Like, just being able to walk around and see stuff as a fleet commander would just be absolutely mint. And it'd be really cool. There's no need, but yeah. And then really fun at the 26 million, so double the last one. In addition to the command and control systems we've already outlined, we're going to expand capital ship functions, leader damage control teams to fight fires and mechanical systems, control internal bulkheads to slow borders, man a number of controls like navigation and engineering that make commanding a capital ship feel even more massive. But it's not just capital ships, that's multi-crew gameplay across all ships. That's really cool. And they're delivering on that as well. So it might be quite cool, I think, to kind of have a look at these and go and see how many of these they have delivered and how many they haven't. Because they've done not a bad job, I think, so far. And then, like, towards the end, it was just like, we're gonna give you guys loads of ships and stuff and a towel, because why not? Yeah. So if anyone wants to know where I am for this, there's a show about. But this is the development under funding on their website, and I realise I'm probably not in the right place for this. But scroll down, 13 million is the first one, command and control center, right there. And then as you scroll down to the 26 mil, enhanced capital system. So that's what I've been reading out to you. That's fun. Is that any better? Stunner. Hopefully that's better. Let me know. But yeah, hopefully that's fixed it. So here we go. We'll post what leaks the bar citizen said, although most seems either obvious or dubious, questionable as usual. Yeah, that. No surprise. Shinobi says we need the crossbow before the sword. Of course, we saw the Star Citizen crossbow. I'll see if I can find it for you for those that haven't seen it. But it is a thing. So there. Yeah, this thing looks kind of crazy. So it's the Ultiflex crossbow. Looks kind of cool, right? And no, this isn't a joke. This isn't fan art. This is genuinely something that they released. But looks great. Looks, almost vaguely alien with a forced draw with the two drawstrings instead of just the one. But yeah, kind of cool. And looks good. So yes, crossbow. Ta-da! I thought that might get Shadow's attention. There we go. So yeah, some good stuff in there. Minor trolling, not actually certain if they will or not, but really sure how it will work. The game failed to no crossbow from it. I kind of wonder if CIG would do with it as a weapon. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm sure they'll get stuff to work. It'll just be a while. Be like, are the bolts reusable? Is there a chance that they break? All that sort of stuff. Shinobi want it so bad. Stealth, says Notorious. Hello, buddy. I want that, please. Says Yellow Girl. Ultimate in stealth weapons. Yeah, kind of cool. So yeah, that is looking good, no doubt. And I would go as far as saying not in 2024. Anything is stealth if there are no survivors. And I can see a couple of flaws with that idea, but yeah, possibly. Why not? But yeah, crossbow plus 50 damage to the Boreal Stalker. If you think I'm going after the Boreal Stalker with anything less than a light machine gun or a rail gun, you're on crack. Great to throw tomatoes when the show is bad or the officers are not on the edge. Yes, 100%. Yeah, just fling stuff when I'm not on point. When people don't like what I'm saying, just like, yeah. I used to be a ship captain until I took a crossbow bolt to the knee. Arr, Jim lad. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, and I put the music. The music hasn't disappeared. We've dropped off. Yeah. So, oh, dear. So, what's next? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come back with. It. I mean, if I had to pick three things that I'm really excited, I think number one would be the same for everyone, right? Number one would be I want to see an updated star map. Give me a map system that I can use, please. For the love of God, give me a map system that I can use. From the rest of it, it's really questionable. I mean, of course, I want to get into Pyro, and I want to do all that stuff. I want to make my first jump, right? That stuff's going to be really exciting. But I'm also happy to wait so that there's some reason to go to Pyro, other than just more of the same gameplay. Because yes, we're going to go there, and it's going to be great exploring all the locations, seeing all that stuff. But I want there to be something that's drawing me there that I can't do instead. So yes, that's going to be really cool. The rest of the stuff, I'm not sure. Of course, there are the ships that are coming that I really like the look of. The Polaris looks great. Zeus looks great. And of course, they've just teased the Zeus as well. So the Zeus is in white box, and that has they've shown some of the images, like a wing section that they've shown of that. So the progress on that is obviously going across nice. Jelly Girl says, excited for the character customizer, naturally. The map system, then Polaris, and then Pyro. So 4 bits from Shadow. Yeah. Looking forward to the Polaris, obviously, as a military ship review. That's going to be cool. The Nautilus is going to come. And then Pets, says Ray. Badges with a space parrot. If you knew anything about me, and I'm sure Edison and that sort of stuff, it would be a space rabbit. I also have a picture of the space rabbit somewhere, but it's not in this room with me, so I can't show you guys. But yes, space rabbit, after my boy Odin, who unfortunately passed away during COVID, although not COVID related. We were locked down, so there was not much I could do about it. But yeah. Giant space wolf with a lifetime insurance. Yeah, I'd go for my rabbit. See, because anyone that's watched Monty Python's Holy Grail will know why. And if not, go watch it. It's a really good film. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really want to see the multi-crew stuff start to come to fruition, and start to give us a reason to be in multi-crew ships. Because as we all know, right now, you'd much rather take a group of fighters than you would do a commie. So take 4 fighters rather than 1 commie, and that makes sense. And I mean, that's still going to be the case to an extent for things like until things like physicalized armor come in. Because I keep seeing comments from people that are like, well, the engineering thing is going to make multi-crew stuff work. And yes, it is to some extent. Now there's a reason to have multiple crew on a multi-crew ship, but it's not going to do anything to address the power imbalance between single-seat ships and multi-crew ships. Because, of course, all it does is it adds drawbacks, right? So at the moment, everything works. We don't have to worry about repairing our components. We don't have to worry about stuff being knocked out, other than guns being blown off or your power plant being taken out. And even if so, there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas then, or it's giving you something more to worry about, you've got something more to control, to repair, to make sure is working, something else that on a big ship can be damaged, small ships don't have to worry about so much. Because, again, even if it's damaged, it's not like you're going to get out of your seat to go fix it until the fight's over. So, yes. It's interesting. So there's still lots that needs to be brought up, and I think a lot of that is based around big ship health pools and turrets. And another thing that will help is, of course, the armor, but over and above that is doing what they've been talking about for a while now, which is making the weapons on bigger ships by default more effective because they're mounted to a bigger ship. So be that higher alpha, be that better range, be that more ammunition considerably than smaller ships to make it, to make them a bit of a trade-off, right? Yeah, because it makes sense. You don't take a Chihuahua to go attacking a Pitbull, or if you do, it's a fighter that's over pretty quick. So size matters is basically what I get them after. So Monster Avy says, see, I kind of think we need Pyro before the Polaris, so they have missions and enough systems for spaceship to hunt it. In Stanson, it's just fighter meta. Need a big system and big targets to justify it. Yes, yeah, 100%. But I suppose, yes, as she says, that doesn't stop Shadow being more excited for the Polaris. Need an EVA suit for my dog. Yeah, when you're taking Scooby EVAing with you, put him in an EVA suit with a collar and a lead, hopefully, because I've got a feeling they're not going to be that great on the recoil. Just saying. So yeah. And as I've said before, I was thinking about going to the game, but of course, the game and my camera are not the best of friends at the moment. So I probably will avoid that for the time being. One of the things I am looking forward to doing this year is bringing back ChatGPT Squadron 42. So for those that don't know, last year we had an episode, a live stream where I told ChatGPT about Squadron 42 and then it enabled us to play that game as a text-based adventure. I want to kind of episode it, and then you guys can be as part of that episode, and we can have some Squadron 42 text-based adventures, and see where we go from there, which should be a lot of fun. What's also cool is I feel kind of weird saying this, but this is what happens, so I'm going to say it anyway. I had a conversation with ChatGPT after we had that episode, and I asked it what would happen if we came up with other options. And it said it would work those in. So it's a text-based adventure where we get to decide what we want to do, which is kind of cool. So we'll give that a go. And basically what I'll do is I'll set up a poll for each question. I'll read out the possibilities. Everyone gets to vote. There's a time limit for the vote, and then we'll go from there. But I think that might be quite good fun. Point of view: Legionnaire docks, Marines in position and ready to go. Docking port opens and a single white rapid just outside the airlock. Never mind, we're going home. Yeah, when you come down to the borders and there's just bodies everywhere and there's just a rabbit with a bit of red around its mouth, you know to leave the rabbit alone. It's treats time. Do not interfere. Suriak, like you said, it would be cool to be able to send a bunch of drones and connect them from the map room of the Carrack, like right now with the remote turrets. Yeah, I'm sure, it would be nice to have semi-autonomous drones, so things like um, the rescue drones from the Apollo, if pilots who are ejected are able to activate an emergency beacon to say, please come and get me, like a locator beacon. It would be nice to be able to get those drones and go pick that up rather than having to fly those manually. But similarly, it would be nice, like on the Reclaimer, to have a drone that's small enough to be able to fly around inside other ships to go and find stuff and like not put a person at risk, especially with the whole death of a spaceman stuff. So yeah, 100%. Bring me the holy hand grenade. Yes, absolutely. Napa Complex. Nice to know if you can chat to GPT if you have no one else. There's always. I'm not going to go there. I'm not. See, this is me being a bigger person, Napa. All right. I didn't go there. I behaved myself. I was a good boy. Yeah. So. So yeah. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year, and that everything's shaping up. Yeah, we'll catch up very, very soon, my friend. Hopefully before the 20th. But Napa Complex and I, for those that don't know, we used to work together. Still very good mates. We play a lot of Warhammer and stuff like that. And we've got a big game day planned over at his on the 20th. So no, you're not all invited. It's just a private thing. But yeah, so it'd be good to see you there, buddy. Sardrones do Sunday, you're right. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming, I think. I still can't quite pick my third one. Like I said, I think resource management's really important. Um, I think I mean, I'd love to say stability for missions and things to make things feel a little safer to go and do. Um, but I know that's not going to happen because it's in build, right? It's like wishing that the downstairs floor of a house that's in build is going to be clean all the time. Of course, it's not. You haven't got any windows yet. Stuff's going to blow through it. But you know, that's personally from my point of view what I want in playing the game. But I'm just looking forward to it developing and things to feel a little bit more intuitive when you're moving around. That's quite important. Um, you know, I think the physicalized cargo stuff and the loading and unloading is going to be fun because that's actually, or admittedly, I've only done it for short periods, but in the Vulture and in the Reclaimer, you feel a lot more connected to what the ship's doing when it's kicking out materials and you're moving it around in the lift on the Reclaimer and putting it into the lower cargo hold and all that sort of stuff. You feel very connected to stuff and it becomes very tactile, even though it's just beams moving stuff around. That's quite cool. Monster Raby says, plus moving stuff like removing fuel would be a lot nicer with automated drones than making someone sit there manually do it. Yeah, yeah, that in space, which would be worse because then you wouldn't have your helmet on. But yeah, I get your point 100%. Um, I'm not sure. I did do an entire video, and I'll link it in chat in just a moment. But I did do an entire video on what I thought. You know, every feature I went down and put down every feature that is coming together in 2024 according to CIG. It's not the predictions; it's according to CIG. And you know what was coming in. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there that's kind of, some of it we hope we're getting, some of it we don't know that we're getting, and it just seems. There you go. So I'll pop that in there. It's worth going through because it wasn't just what they said at CitizenCon. It was CitizenCon. It was everything else they've said that is coming next year. I went through and combed about 10 or 11 sources for everything that they said they were coming. I'm sure I've missed a few bits, but I got as much as I could. So that's the video that's in chat at the minute. And that's, you know, what they say they're going to deliver. That's not me promising anything. That's not me saying they will deliver it. That is literally just what they've said is coming. But it's well worth a look because there's a lot in there. And as I've said a couple of times before, if we get just 2/3 of that by the end of this year, we'll be very, very lucky. Yeah. And then I'm just going to say it, the third thing that I really, really want, Perseus. I want my warship. Really excited. Yeah. Then you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I think a lot of people are expecting there to be a lot of fast progress this year. And it's a natural thing to assume because we've got people coming over from Squadron 42, although they're still polishing and optimizing and all that good, sort of good stuff. There are going to be people coming over from Squadron 42 into Star Citizen, which should accelerate the development. The question is what is the rate of that acceleration going to be? And I think next year will be faster than this year, more than likely. But this year will still be quite rapid because we've got stuff like because they're bringing features across from the single player that are already worked on that can be brought across in fairly short order, roughly speaking. It's going to be quick to do all that stuff, and then of course they're going to have to start building features from the ground up again. So, but yeah, that's the hope. Right. So, has my chat paused, or have you lot just gone quiet? Say something in chat. Let me know that you're still there, because I'm not sure. The last thing I've got is what I posted. That might still be the last thing there, but also I might be missing a load of stuff. So, let me know that you're still with me and that we're still chatting. We're silent, monsters. So you're still there. That's good to see. Cool. So yeah, and then of course we know that they're working on "Don't Demand I Speak." Damn it! I mean, something maybe good. Fantastic. Good to see you all there. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on. Moment of silence for killing your dreams. What dream did I kill? What? Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to kill a dream. What was the dream that I killed? Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I didn't come here to kill dreams. I just came here to drink beer and fly spaceships, man. That was my whole purpose. That was going to be it, and talk to you guys, obviously. But killing dreams sounds a bit serious. No, yeah, no worries, Ninja. Sorry. Good night, buddy. Sleep with you. Sleep well, won't you? And take it easy. And hopefully see you next time, my friend. All the best. Avy, just messing with you. Whew. I thought I'd said something and it was like, unless it was that comment earlier, and I don't think it was you that made it, but unless it was that comment earlier about the Liberator being used as a light assault carrier, then I'm absolutely killing your dreams, Dagnabbit. Other than that, drink more beer and do more flying then. Yeah, absolutely. Living the dream, drinking and flying spaceships. 100%. Not necessarily in that order. But yes. I keep using that as the answer when people at work are asking me, how are you? I was like, yeah, living the dream. When I find out whose dream it is, they can have it back. But yes. Right. Moment break. I'm just going to go grab another cider and then we shall continue. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. The good news is they're nice and cold for having been outside for about a month. Oops. And the last one didn't vaguely taste of cat pee either, so that was weird. Yeah, you can use it as an assault carrier, just don't ask why your org lost the fight. Yes, you already know why your org lost the fight, because you used the goddamn Liberator. Yeah, we had a really good discussion about ships and stuff, and one of the points that I made about putting fleets together was, you get into a period of what they call high intensity operations, which is lots of threats, so you need lots of assets to up to deal with it. So you need, ships, and you're going to go through a lot of ammunition. You're probably going to take damage and or casualties. You're going to need to launch fighters and all that sort of stuff in a Star Citizen environment. You're going to need all that sort of stuff up. The question then becomes, when that fight's over and you start bringing stuff back from repair, rearm, refuel, and you start dealing with what's happened within the fleet, that's the point at which you need to be able to put more fighters up, because you need to be able to maintain your operations. So it's not just about using 100% of your stuff all the time. Part of it is knowing how much stuff to put up against your opponent, to be fairly certain of winning the fight, yet still retaining capability, so that A, they never see your full strength, and B, that if they bring in another force immediately afterwards when you're bringing stuff to repair, rearm, refuel, that they don't catch you effectively with your pants down and do you over, right? So that's why ships like the Liberator and that get such short shrift from me, because they're not able to do it. Use the Idris as an example, okay? So what I would like to do with an Idris, as I told these guys in Discord, was it has 3 spots, 3 locations for aircraft, so it can take 3 Gladius or whatever, right, as a general rule. So for each spot, I would expect to take 2 Terrapin. Yeah, so if I want a Terrapin, I will take, if I want one to take up a hangar, I'll take 2. The idea being that if I'm using the Terrapin for reconnaissance, early warning, all of those good things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one up. And then the other one is going to repair, refuel, rearm. The crew's going to launch, go out to where the first one is. First one will come back, land on the spot the other one's just vacated, repair, rearm, refuel. They can stay in their own beds so they don't take up crew bunks. And they can keep switching out. And in fact, I would never need to have both of them in the same spot. Now, realistically speaking, you could do that with 2. I mean, theoretically, you can do that with as many as you want, right? You'll just deplete the Idris's resources faster. But that's the sort of thing that I would like to do with kind of an Idris. The Liberator's ability to do that is non-existent, because there's no space to put them that's sheltered from everywhere else to be able to repair, refuel. There's a little bit of interior space with some cargo and that to help fix stuff, sure, but also it doesn't have a lot of life support. So if it's only got 2 crew, CIG keep talking about limiting how much life support will be on each ship. So you can't just take, for example, a Constellation Taurus and put 40 people on it, because the ship can't put out enough oxygen for everyone to breathe it safely. Whereas ships like the 890 Jump will be able to do a lot more because they're designed to host parties and stuff. And not everyone at that party is going to be staying on board. So their life support will be a lot better. Same the things like the Genesis Starliner, right? But for a lot of things like the Liberator, you don't need that because you're a transport ship. So there's not a lot of places on that ship you can go and put those extra crew, which is why I give the Liberator such a hard time. As a shipping ship, as something that's able to move your ships around the verse, multiple ships with cargo and all that sort of stuff, it's great. It excels. It is not a carrier, however. So there's that. Avi says, that was one of the things I kind of hoped, but doesn't seem likely with the Idris. Use the rear bay to get the fighters out and hide them from the enemy ship. Keep them guessing what's going to hit them. Yeah, 100%. You know, the strength of that is let's say you take on a system that doesn't have a carrier, right? So I can identify, if I'm being stealthy and I've got some patience, where your reconnaissance flights are coming from. I'll follow them back to that station. Then I'll attack that station with a ship with a quantum enforcement device that stops you running away, and then I'll pull those reconnaissance shot apart piecemeal. Now, trying to defend the system, you don't have eyes anymore, right? I'll find out where your bomber fleet is located, and I'll put fighters into it. All that sort of stuff. So, you know, the beauty of having something like the Idris, even the Kraken, although I still don't like it as a frontline carrier, as a support carrier, I get it, is not only do I have to figure out what you've got in your fleet, I've got to locate it as well. And you can just go sit in some random part of the system, nowhere near any real point of interest. Just pick a point that's not in a gravity well, and that put your ship there, and then know that pretty much everything in that system is a jump away. And then you deliver fighters and stuff. So that's that sort of stuff. Are you trying to distract me again, Shadow Gal? Because I could give you an answer to that if you like. Oh dear. And the answer to that would obviously be, I'm going to put my Terrapin in your Polaris. What were you thinking? So yeah, that. But yeah, so doesn't the Liberator have like 20 to 30 drop seats? Don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Because it's not its actual purpose, despite the fact that they put light carrier. Everything about it is it's a light carrier in the same way that one of those big 18-wheelers that carries lots of cars on its back is a landing craft. It's not. That's a Terrapin idea. That. Just checked, has 16 jump seats. Yeah. So as long as you've got, I guess, ships where they can log off, great. Possibly. But even so, I mean, that's 16 people that have to be logged in to go anywhere. Which is not the point of a carrier, because, I mean, if you take something like an Idris or even a Kraken, you've got 10 crew. You need how many to fly it safely? 3. It's 3 watches. So an org can have people logged in at different times. If I know I'm going to sleep at whatever time, then just as I'm going to bed, Shadow Girl's getting up. So Shadow Girl can take over as my relief. She can captain it until someone else gets up. Then just as they're going to bed or they're finishing, I can come in and captain. You can have a constant revolve. The problem with the Liberator, 2 crew, 2 beds. You know, it might have jump seats, but it's still not able to do what it needs to do. If I land 3 Gladius on an Idris, those 3 crew go and take crew beds in the Idris, because you don't need every one of those beds filled to run the ship. Whereas with the Liberator, you got 1 person flying it, 1 person running around doing repair, rearm, refuel. And that's it, right? That's your entire crew. Just park the ship in the dead space at direction anywhere from planet to body. I doubt anyone will find it, and that's the beauty of it, right? And that's the thing where people are talking about always needing escorts, possibly depending on where you are. But there's also in an area where there's an elevated piracy risk, but it's not through the roof. Be clever, box clever with, if they know where you're coming from and where you're going to, don't take that route. You're playing right into their hands. Fly off at an angle so that you're coming at that planet from a different angle that they're expecting, because then they're like, well, 7 different ways you can do that. Now I've got to cover 7 different approach angles, and then hope that I can catch you with enough force at wherever you appear. So I need to have that port force times 7, because I don't know which one you're going to appear at, and so on and so forth. So fleets and all that stuff, it's not just about the ability to engage strength on strength, right? It's not a, my ship can do this much alpha damage, or my ships can do this much alpha damage, your ships can do that much, mine is higher, therefore I win. It's not how it's going to work. And in every other game that we've had with ships and stuff up until now, like World of Warships that fight in the World War II style, all of the tactics have been taken out of it. Because when you load in a World of Warships, you're in your deployment zone, you're fighting other people. All the maneuvering, the pinning them down, the catching them at a point where they're not ready for you, all of that has been taken away from you. It's just a straight up fight on fight. Which is that, yeah. The Liberators are ferry, nothing more. Land your ship, go sit down, stretch your legs during the journey. Yeah, I mean, so it might certainly have, looking at that, if it's got 16 jump seats, it probably will have the oxygen to keep everyone awake. But that's people on board, ready to go, sat there doing nothing, which doesn't sound like my idea of fun. Whereas, on other ships, you've got more to do. You can log out in a bed that you can't do on the thing. If I've got 3, like we say, 3 Gladius on an Idris, I can log out. If I know we're not getting to the system that I need to be in for an hour, I'll be back in 45 minutes. I'm going to go do something else. Perfect. Liberator, not so much. Nebulous does a good job of showing the hunt portion of it. Which one's that? Cafe with arcade machine, says Shadow Go. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, what's the hunt portion of what? Sorry, Notorious. Just having a look while we talk. I'm just having a skip through some of what they've told us that we're going to get with some of the stretch goals, because some of it is really interesting. Some of the stuff in here. I remember when I first found the game, I went and I obviously did what I always do when you're obsessive about something, is you go and grab as much information as you can and read all about it. So just to go, Napa Complex says, World of Warships is like COD for Navy Bus. It gives people the impression they'd be good at that kind of combat, but as you say, removes the opportunity to learn the importance of reconnaissance. Yeah. And this is the, like, what World of Warships absolutely cannot do are the pivotal naval battles. Oh, Nebulous Fleet Command. Sorry, yes, I'm with you. Right. Sorry, I thought you meant Nebulous as a content creator. Right. Nebulous Fleet Command does a good job of showing the hunt portion of it. Yes, that's still on my wish list. I may well pick that up at some point in the near future and have a look. And also some other space games as well. I do kind of want to have a bit of a playthrough of the Captain, which is that like 16-bit game that I demoed a while ago, but a fair amount of viewers dropped off after that. So I might do it as a little bit of a video and then see if people like it and see where we go. Because obviously, because of one reason or another with Star Citizen, I've not been creating gameplay content until very recently because I wasn't able to. Again, Dell, love you, dude. Thank you very much. Now that I'm moving that way, we'll have to see. But that's not what the channel has been built around initially. So it might not be my sense of humour necessarily when I'm playing games that you guys, if I'm just out there going, clicking stuff, that might not be the riveting content that you guys are after. So we'll do a couple of testers and see where we go. we need to do Star Trek Bridge Crew. I tell you what, I really like the idea of, Shadow, and you're entirely right, is doing a couple of community games events where we just get together, and it doesn't have to be streamed. It can just be for you guys that are here. If you want to come and game, there'll be no paywall. There'll be nothing. Or the only precondition will be in Discord to sort the games out. So you'll need to be in Discord, but that's it, right? But it would be really cool to do some games like that, and anything else that we fancy playing. Napo Complex and I really enjoy Hell Let Loose, which is a World War II first-person shooter. Any games like that would be great. But yeah, Star Trek Bridge Crew sounds like it might be quite good fun. Even silly party games like Among Us and Keep Talking or Everyone Explodes, we could do some of that. So if that's what you guys fancy doing, we'll do that, right? I am all good for stuff like this. More chances to engage and talk with you guys one-on-one. Just if you can see Dell and Stunner and myself in a channel, just avoid us because we're normally talking about something quite controversial and we sound like we're shouting at each other, but we're not. We're all very good. We just get very heated about stuff. Yeah. So there's that. It's really good fun conversations, but it's basically it's what I built my channel around in terms of the community, which is it is fine to disagree. We all see things differently. It's fine to not like one ship and like another. It's fine to like one gameplay thing and someone else not like it. You debate the thing. You don't attack each other. You don't call each other names. You don't do any of that. You don't attack. You don't go any of the low hanging fruit. It's all capable of having a debate and then still being friends at the end of it and still having a laugh and all that sort of stuff, right? It's that. So that's what we need to go for. We already tried Lethal Company, says Napo. We did try Lethal Company. I'm up for some Lethal Company as well. That game is just hilarious when you get the right ones. I heard Hell Let Loose went downhill after a new Tokyo. Don't know if this is true. It's still worth getting into. I genuinely feel like the pace of the updates and stuff might have changed, but I still feel like the core game is there and still very, very good. It's crazy sometimes. It's not always going to be someone's cup of tea. There are times when you die, you just don't know where it's coming from. There are very frustrating times where someone's dropping artillery on you, and all you hear is, and you're dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. You've only just spawned. You had no chance to react. You just got to suck it up. But having said that, the multi-crew gameplay, so 3 manning a tank in Hell Let Loose, is easily some of the most satisfying gameplay I think I've had in a game. And Napo and I love crewing tanks and coordinating and all that sort of stuff. Calling out bearings and arranging stuff. It's good. Boiling tea on a ship is dangerous, or so I was told. It is, and we'll tell that story. Well, says Stunner, it's really not okay to like Drake, just saying. I mean, when you're right, you're right. But yeah, Shinobi, what I do is, I think it still has free-to-play weekends. Failing that, I'm always happy to go and stream some in Discord. If it's something you want to watch, mate, you're always welcome. But yeah, completely understand why you don't want to throw cash on something that might not be good. So, yeah. Hell Let Loose can be the most fun or most infuriating game. Generally fun, though, says Napo. Crewing Tonks is Chad life. It's awesome. Yeah, we've regularly gone round because that's another game that has local, so proximity comms. So you can talk to your squadron regardless of where they are, but you've also got proximity comms to talk to other people, and obviously you get quieter at range. And we just, we have quite a bit of fun talking to each other as typical, British officers in a tank in proximity comms. I say, Chumley, Fritz appears to be in the field. Give him what for? And all that sort of stuff. So it's quite good fun. You can have some real fun with it. Yeah, it's well worth a shake, I think. But give it a go. Watch the videos. Just the same as you would recommend someone doing a thing, yeah. But I still really enjoy it, and I haven't seen much of a change since the new devs took it. I know people threw a fit over it, and things might have gotten slower, but we've had the British faction added. They're adding, I think, a Pacific theatre to it as well. So, yeah, British tankers with the Yanks as tops, 100%. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so I mean, I really quite like the list of stuff. Just moving on quickly to um, this stuff on the funding, the roadmap stretch goals. Because when I first found Star Citizen, it must have been 2013, first part of 2013, um, and this stuff was going up. In fact, it would have been because they were still achieving stretch goals. So it was back half of 2013, early part of 2014 that I found this stuff, even here, right? Because I went and found this and I got it all printed out at work and went in and was anyone who would listen would have their ears twisted about it and we would talk through it all. And I just, yeah, feel like I found my home. This is the game I've always wanted to play. It's always been space games that I've really, really enjoyed. Although I enjoy a lot, space games have always had a special place in my heart when I'm gaming. So yeah, it's playing the original Wing Commander and stuff like that. Playing Freelancer back in the day, even as far back as Elite, when Elite was the thing. Not Elite Dangerous, the original Elite. Absolutely loved it. Although I never could land in the port, no matter what I did, it was miserable. Now if I come back to Jerry, how to describe Star Citizen to people. Most fun or most infuriating. You are not wrong. 100% not wrong. Yeah, so why not play these games on stream? People love watching that kind of content often. Yeah, 100%. More than happy to stream it as well if people want that. But sometimes it's nice to interact with the community, not on stream, like I do with the people at Discord all the time. So it'd be lovely to have people come in and play games and build that community. I know a couple of people have popped in, and everyone's at a different stage of life, right? And maybe this is how I end this. Maybe how I end this stream is this bit is getting in my soapbox a little. Um, Everyone's at different stages of life, and everyone's facing different challenges. And I genuinely believe that gaming could be a lot more than it is at the moment. It's, a lot of communities about being angry and salt farming, and I don't mean Star Citizen. I mean gaming in general, right? Although I suppose you could apply it to Star Citizen too. But for the people that are isolated, like me when I was 6,000 miles away, and I would stop off in Bahrain, and we'd go to the Navy PX, the US Navy PX. They'd have really good Wi-Fi, so I would log in and I would game with my friends back in the UK, despite the fact that I'm 6,000 miles away, and it's right, maybe not 6,000 miles away, but you get the point, right? Gaming's able to bring people together and connect them. And that sort of stuff is really, really good. And I think this is what I've always wanted DGP to be, is just a place for people who have shared interests to come and hang out. It doesn't have to be just when I'm there. It doesn't have to be, if you want a conversation with someone else, there are multiple rooms. Go into another room. You don't have to be in the same room. It's 100% about just a place to go, and that you get to drop in with people you get on with and go, hey, I found a new game. Does anyone want to play this with me? Because there's nothing worse than getting halfway through a game that has co-op or has multiplayer that you haven't been using, and then finding out a bunch of people you would love to have game while they've got it after the fact, right? But also, I think it's a really nice place to come when you are struggling. Because I know that I've struggled at times, and being able to reconnect with people I know through gaming has made those things much easier. And I just hope that we find the community that we belong to. It doesn't have to be this one. Find a community that you feel like you can belong to online. You don't have to be part of it. It doesn't have to be an org. It doesn't have to be a guild. It doesn't have to be any real commitment. But finding that community and then knowing that you can approach people, come here, knowing that you can approach people when you're having a rough time of it is really, really important. This, oh, I just like I'm trying to have a serious. I'm having a serious heart moment, and chat is just derailing me. Because all I saw was, and when things get bad, you can give it a lick. I had no context for that, and no context made that better. But yes. But I've had people come in, and there's people that have got medical stuff going on. There's people that have got stuff going on with their job. There's people that have got stuff going on with partners. There's people that's got stuff going on with family, and you don't have to talk about any of it. But if you want to, you can. But having those people and that community is really important. And I think it's about time we got more positive about stuff. We all see from Star Citizen, it's very easy for people to tear shit down. There are content creators, not naming anyone, Salty Mike, who make an entire habit of tearing stuff down. And I don't buy the whole, oh yeah, but he is positive about this. He's positive when it's easy to be, right? Which isn't being positive. Not really. Right, just, oh, well, things are being good, so I'm happy, and then things aren't happy, so I'm not happy. Finding any chink in something to tear it apart, that's not being positive. That's being negative. That's salt farming. And knowing that you can build an entire community out of that, knowing that you can go out to Facebook and whatever, Spectrum is a really good example of this, but anything, and just tear things down because you can. And half the time, these things, it's like, well, this doesn't work. Well, what would you do about it? Well, I don't know, but it's shit. It doesn't work. If you don't know how to fix it, if you don't know what you wanted in its place, even, what are you doing tearing it down? And it's so easy to be negative about stuff. Everyone was negative about No Man's Sky. Maybe 5% of the people that were negative about it have even admitted that they've done a really good job of pulling that game around. Same Cyberpunk. Same everything else that people slam when it comes out. Some of it, I admit, like The Day Before, deserves every bit of criticism that it gets. But Star Citizen isn't here yet. The project hasn't failed. Squadron 42 isn't a flop yet, if that's what it happens at all, and yet people will still behave like it. And you are the community that you're around. So if you're in a community that is negative about everything, you will become more negative about things, even if you don't become negative about everything. If you're in a community that tries to find the positive, tries to support, and tries to build people up rather than just tear them to pieces. Don't get me wrong, we're pretty good at tearing each other to pieces as well, but in a fun, friendly, and loving way, not, to make you go and cry into a corner afterward. So that's what DGP is going to continue to be, and I'm looking forward to at some point this year. There's a couple of charities I have in mind in the UK, but I would really like to do a couple of charity streams that contribute to things like mental health. Just a stream where people can donate, and I'll take all the money to a mental health charity here in the UK, specifically working with things like veterans, and that sort of stuff, because I think the two go hand in hand. Being able to be here, being able to be supported by you guys when I feel like content creation isn't going my way, I get one positive comment from you guys, and it's great. It's like all the doubts and that melt away, and it's fun to be doing content creation again. And I'm really hoping we can do that for everyone. So, DGP, I hope will be that for you guys. There'll be lots of drinking, there'll be lots of gaming, there'll be lots of support, and I'm really hoping that I can in the future come and meet you guys at CitizenCon and stuff like that. We can all get together, we can have a beer, we can have a giggle, and just enjoy ourselves and enjoy this wonderful world of gaming that has drawn us all in and that we all spend so much time doing. Yeah, so that's the interesting, because the viewer count hasn't gone down, so I'm at least not chasing anyone away, and that's a good thing. But that's what this community is here for. And people that come in and want to be positive, even when we debate, and we debate very hard sometimes, but it's all friendly and it's all spirited. And if you're willing to come in there, you are welcome here. You are my people. I care nothing about you other than that we're positive and we support each other. At least 6 beers to Domo, 100%. But you are all about. I don't care about your skin color. I don't care about who you call God. I don't care about who you go home to in the evening, and neither does anyone else in my community. And if they do, they're not welcome. What we care about is that you're in a good place, that things are getting better for you. You enjoy this thing called gaming, and we all enjoy it together. Yeah, so that's me. I'm done being all emotional and stuff like that. I feel like, although it is a couple minutes early, that is probably a very, very good place to call time on this evening. I do have to be up slightly early in the morning because I'm driving out to Southampton tomorrow, which is just straight up rubbish. But I will cast my eye over Discord. If you've added yourself, I will give you the roles. I will be in chat for a little while before I go to bed, just to help me decompress from the stream. And I would very much look forward to seeing you guys all there, I hope. So, all that's left is the first time that I say this in 2024. May there be many more. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. See you soon.